It's a very attractive alternative to a 3 or 4 year degree course at a university. And the UK government were very interested in ensuring that people were appropriately trained in order to carry out their work. So you need a source of funding. So who's going to pay for that training?
Hello, I'm here with Professor Johnem Dishmanem, Pro-Vice Chancellor and CEO of CZY Group of Coventry University, Wrocławiu. Hello.
Hello.
And I would like to start with a simple question. What is the apprenticeship model and how it works?
Okay. Well, apprenticeships have been around in the UK for a very long time. People who were craftsmen, people who made tools, who built things, would learn from a master and were an apprentice to a master. So you'd have an apprenticeship which may last between 5 and 6 years, and you'd work under the tutelage of a master, an expert in that particular trade. And then your final piece of work would be your masterpiece, and that you'd be a fully qualified craftsman. So it stems hundreds of years old. But it's more, the local context goes back to about 2017 in the UK. And the UK government were very interested in ensuring that people were appropriately trained in order to carry out their work. There was also interest in people not necessarily learning before they got onto the job, but they could learn whilst they were doing the job. So the apprenticeship system at the moment is groups of employers, groups of industry experts get together and they decide what a particular standard of work is required from their industry. So the nuclear industry, what would be required from a nuclear technician, the nuclear companies got together and said, this is what would be required. And that produced something called an apprenticeship standard. So young people who join that industry will follow a program of training alongside their normal work in order to demonstrate that they can work to that appropriate standard. And that person's an apprentice. So the young person is paid a smaller amount of money while they're training, but they gather all the skills and the experience of working in that industry till they become qualified and they receive an actual qualification. But bearing in mind, most of their study has been done at the workplace, usually with attendance at a college or at a university in order to study the theoretical aspects of the industry that they work within. So that system's been going along since about 2017. It's now widespread throughout the country, and it means that employers have got a very real insight into the sorts of training they expect their young people to undertake in order that they can work efficiently and competently in their workplace.
So you already answered my next question, because I want to ask if that kind of model work in United Kingdom, and you said it did. It is. And my question is it possible that apprenticeship will work in Poland, for example?
I think there are a few things which you need to put together. So you need a source of funding. So who's going to pay for that training? In the UK, companies of a certain size, which have a certain employee pay bill, are all expected to make a contribution, and they give up to 3% of the payroll to the government, and that money is then used to provide the training. So that's one element, is you do need a funding stream. You also need people who can provide the education and training. So in our case as a university, we provide graduate level apprenticeships, so we deliver the training to people who come in to see us for say 1 day per week or in a block structure. So we provide the training, and then you also need an organisation which accepts that the qualification has been considered by the various industries it serves, and it is the right level of qualification and contains the right components within that qualification to make people fit to be able to do that particular job. So you do need those three things. You need a source of funding, you need a regulatory organisation which sets the standards of the apprentice, and you need a training or education provider, a college or a university such as ourselves, to be able to deliver that programme. And we work hand in hand in partnership with the employers, so they get a real insight into what it is that their employees are learning, and they will make comment on how well that person is doing whilst they're at work. The big difference is that the apprentice can be working, can be contributing to the business of the business or the industry, and is not, whilst they're getting the qualification, they can still be working at the same time. The opportunities for young people in the UK is that at the moment, young people who want to go away to university would have to pay a fee. The apprenticeship system is different, and in fact the apprentice don't pay fees. They're actually earning while they're an apprentice, but will end up with a qualification which is recognised by industry. It's a very attractive alternative to a 3 or 4 year degree course at a university.
My last question is, what kind of social demand does apprenticeship education respond to?
Well, I suppose it does two things. I think there's a real criticism of education and training, that the young people who leave school or leave university don't really have the right skills required by that industry. And this sort of solves that problem, because the skill requirement is determined by the industry itself, not by the school or university. And that means that an apprentice walks out of their training program having got the qualification, but also having got several years of experience of working in the industry, and is therefore very well equipped in order to succeed in that job, because of the way in which they've become skilled and gained their education.
Thank you very much. I had a pleasure to speak with Professor John Dishman. Thank you.
Thank you.